put in my spirit today when I was writing this, changing it to accumulating wealth God's way. Help me say accumulating wealth God's way. All right, God's way. And that's what we have to do, is learn to do it the way God said do it, and we'll be blessed the way God said we are going to be blessed. And many times we're not blessed because we didn't really do it the way God told us to do it. We did it another way, and then it didn't work that way, and we blame God. But if we do it God's way, it will work. Now, in part one of this series, I focus on the difference between tithe and giving, an offering. And just to refresh your memories, the difference is tithing is what God requires for the upkeep of his house. That's the church. And that is the legal requirement that is for everybody. The tithe is equal for everybody. Now, here's where sometimes the world use the percentage and they don't do it fairly. Now, let me tell you how they don't do it fairly. All right, if you are at the bottom and you are making, say you're making $1,000 a month, and there's other people who's at the top making $4,000 a month, and they say we're going to give everybody across the board a 12% raise. Now, your $1,000 at 12% means you're going to get about $120 more a month. But that person that's making $4,000 already, they're going to make much more money than you. So it seems like it may be saying they're fair, but that's not. But what God says, now God brings it fair because he brings it back the other way. And God said if you're making $10 and you give $1, and the man making 1,000 give 100, I'm going to bless you just as much I would have blessed the person for the 1,000 as giving the $1. And that's what's the fairness about it. Now, so our tithes is our insurance that God will rebuke the devourer for our sake. Not only that, he will protect our family, the fruit. That's what the fruit of the vine, that means that he'll protect our families. The devourer, now the devourer is not something that chews. The devourer means to suck in. So he stopped the devil from sucking up what belongs to us. And not only that, everything about the tithe is called a seed. Everything above the tithe is called a seed. And so God do not demand us to give an offering. But although, all through the Bible, he said, give, and it will be given back to you. Now, get your Bible and go to St. Luke, chapter 6, and verse 38, and see what he said. He started telling you there how to plant seeds, how to plant seeds. So in tonight's lesson, I'm going to walk you through a person that followed God and show you how God made him rich. One man that followed God. You know the story. You just probably never saw how God made him rich. St. Luke 6 and 38, what did it say? Give, and what happened? Shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, shall men give unto you. All right. Now, large or small, whatever you give is going to be given back to you. Now, we read last week what Paul said, but let's just read a couple of more verses of that, what Paul said about giving, and that would be in 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians 9, 6, and 8. 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 6 and 8. And let's see what Paul said about that. And chapter 9, verse 6 through 8. All right, do you have it? Amen. But this I say. Now remember, he didn't say God said it. He said, but this what? I say. He which what? Soweth sparingly shall what? Also shall reap sparingly. And he that what? Soweth bountifully shall what? Reap bountifully. Every man according as what? He purposed in his heart. So let him do what? But not grudgingly. That's the thing that can hurt you there, that attitude. And we're going to talk about the attitude tonight. Not grudgingly, or what? Of necessity. For what do God love? A cheerful giver. And verse 8, and God is able to make what? Some grace. All grace do what? Abound towards you, that ye what? Always having all sufficient in what? In all things. May what? May abound to every good work. So you won't come short if you just follow that principle. But now if you want to go above and you want God to bless you above that, now the Life Application Bible translate these verses and say, a farmer who plant just a few seeds will get only a small crop. But if he plant much, he will reap much. But everyone must make up his own mind as to how much should he give. Don't force anyone to give more than he really wants to give. For cheerful givers are the one God gives the prize. God is able to make it up to you by giving you everything you need and more, so there will be not only be enough for you, but every need and plenty left over to joyfully give to others. Plenty left over. Didn't say a little left over, but plenty left over. And I see the hands of people that have plenty left over right now. Nobody raising your hand? All right. Now, I'm going to give you some biblical examples of a man that became a millionaire and how this man became a millionaire. First of all, a vision without action is just a hallucination. What did I say? All right, so you don't want to be hallucinating, all right? You want to get that out the way, so we don't want you hallucinating. We are part of the Abrahamic covenant. So think about that. We are part of the Abrahamic covenant. Now, let's look at what God promised Abraham. This would be in Genesis chapter 12. Look at Genesis chapter 12 and verse 1 and 2. 2 and 3, actually. Genesis 12, verse 2 and 3. Now let's see. So if my people perish for what? So now we are part of the Abrahamic covenant. Now watch what God said to Abraham and verse 1 and through verse 3. In the beginning God created, I got verse chapter 1. Let me go back and get chapter 3. All right, ready. Chapter 12, you're right. Chapter 12 and verse 1 and 3. Thank you. All right, here we are. Now the Lord had said unto Abram, get thee out of the country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee. Now, here's the thing. That first verse tells you that sometime in order to receive what God has for you, you got to get out of the environment that you're in. Because the environment that we are in sometime may be what's holding us back. All right. Maybe what's holding us back. The second thing he says in verse 2, and I will make of thee a what? A great nation, and I will do what? I will bless thee, and I will make what? Thy name great, and what? Thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that what? And curse them that continue to curse what? And in thee shall all what? Now, do you see how you're Abraham's seed? Are you a part of the family of the earth? That means if you're part of the family of the earth, then God said, I'll make your name great. Now, here's the name that we remember. We remember names of great people. Y'all are going to talk to me. I said, we remember the names of great people. We remember the names of millionaires, movie stars, actors. But you don't remember the name of folks that, y'all scared to talk. You don't remember the name of folks who don't have anything. Think about the hundreds of thousands of churches in the world. But whose name do you remember? The big churches, the folks that got something. You don't have nothing, they don't remember my name. Now, he said, all the families of the earth shall be blessed Now, watch this confirmed. It was confirmed in two places. But first of all, let's go to Galatians chapter 3. Galatians chapter 3. And watch how God confirmed this. Paul confirmed it and let us know that don't forget about what God said. God did not forget it. In chapter 3, and let's look at verse 14 and watch how God confirmed what he said. All right, Galatians chapter 3 and 14. Do you have it? Amen. Let's read it together. That the what? Blessings of who? Abraham might come on who? Now what are we? We are Gentiles through what? Jesus Christ, that we might what? Receive the promise of the Spirit through faith. The Spirit promised it. God promised it. And so we have a promise out there that God said he was going to do it. And so we should be dependent on God to keep his promise. Now, Proverbs 8. Get ready to write down a few scriptures here now. Proverbs chapter 8 and verse 17. Proverbs chapter 8 and verse 17. And watch what God said, that Solomon said. Chapter 8 and verse 17. If you have it, say amen. All right, chapter 8 and verse 17. Solomon said, love what? I love them that what? And those that seek me early shall find me. Now, and stay with this now, because we're going to go right on through here. Now, he said, I love them that what? So if you love God, God loves you. All right, now watch what verse 18 says. What does verse 18 say? Riches and honor are with me. Huh? Riches and honor what? All right, now he said, first he said, I love them that what? So then he goes on and says, riches and what? Honor is with me. What? Yea, durable riches and righteousness. So I got, it's not that I just got enough. I got durable. I got plenty. Verse 19. My fruit is better than gold, yea, than fine gold. And my what? Revenue than choice silver. Verse 20. I lead in the way of righteousness. I lead in the way of righteousness. You need to get to know God. I lead in the way of righteousness in the midst of the path of what? That I may cause those that love me to what? Oh, y'all are going to say that. I need you to say that again. I may cause those that love me to inherit what? Anybody read that before? That love me to inherit substance. What is substance? He told you what he had. Then he said he caused those that love me to inherit substance, and I will fill their treasures. You know he was talking about money. All right. I want to get, I'm sorry I got loud. Now, maybe we better go back. Let's read these last two verses again. My fruit, verse 19, 20, 21. My fruit is better than what? Gold. Yea, than the. And my revenue than what? I lead in the what? In the midst of the path of what? That I may. Is anybody in here love him? Those that love me to do what? In their substance, and I will what? I will fill their treasures. My God, that's a lot. Those who love him, I'll fill your treasure. Now here's where we got to do. Here's what we're going to have to do, though, to know all of what God said. My people perish for lack of knowledge. So we want to make sure we have knowledge. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 1. Chapter 1, and let's look at verse 30 and 31. First Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 30 through 31. If you have it, say amen. All right, here it is. Verse 30 says, but of him are ye what? Who of God is made unto us what? What else? And that what? He that what? About 10 years ago, maybe 15, I started reading that scripture. And I started confessing the verse 30. That, Lord, I thank you that I have your wisdom, I have your knowledge, I have your glory. I have your understanding. And I kept confessing that. I kept confessing it because I wanted to have, it takes God's knowledge for us to understand the Bible. It takes his wisdom for us to understand it. Because if we understand it just by reading with the word, we won't get it. But there are some things that it's difficult for us to understand. But when you read it and you get God's wisdom and you get his knowledge, and we're going to find out what, and this is not the man I'm going to be dwelling on tonight, but you're going to find out that when you get God's wisdom and you get God's knowledge, those are the key things. Key things. So what do God's wisdom do for us? What is it that God's wisdom do for us that other things don't? It gives us the right attitude. You'll have the right attitude, the right thinking. Because so a man thinketh in his heart what? So we need that right attitude will keep us from going in the wrong directions. It'll keep us from going in the wrong direction. But without passion, you will not go in any direction at all. So you got to have a passion for God's word. You got to have a passion to hear God's word. You got to want to hear it. You got to know that you want to hear God's word. And that passion will cause you to want to hear God's word. Now, the Bible said, and I'm going to just quote this one because all of you know it, Matthew 11 and 12 said that the kingdom, ever since the day of John the Baptist, the kingdom of God suffer what? Violent. But the violent does what? Take us by force. So the devil would try to take our minds. Keep our minds off of God. Keep our minds off of what God said. And how many of you have been praying and the devil come in and make you tired or make you sleepy or make you drowsy or distract you with the children? The devil always has been violent. But you have to radically make sure that I don't care what happened. I'm not going to get up and answer the phone now. They haven't called me all this time. The time I start praying, the phone rang. Somebody knocking on the door. You got to be radically and say, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to pray through. I'm going to pray through. Now, so this is what it's saying, that God, that he uses us, but we have to learn how to not have any distraction. Don't allow the devil to distract us and cause us not to do the thing that we are supposed to do. And don't allow the cares of the world, deceitfulness of riches. See, there's a riches that is deceitful. You want to get money for yourself. That's deceitful. And you want to, get all and do that to boast about. That's deceitful. So you got to watch out for the deceitful thing. The passion is the thing that's going to keep you. Now, let's look at another scripture here, and I'll give it to you in just a moment. But let me explain to you from a vision to a cause. Everybody said from a vision to a cause. Now, you might be asking at this point, how can I develop a passion if I don't already have one? If you don't already have one, so how can I develop a passion? See, a passion, if I don't already have one, it begins with our attitude. Your attitude expresses your passion. It does. What you hang around with and what you do is who you are. And so your passion comes out through your attitude. That's how we have to even be careful where we rear our children and our family. Because if you raise them up in a gang-infested area, they will become passionate for the folks that they're around. And their attitude will adapt to what the gangbangers are doing. Okay. You can say, well, I can bring it up. My ass ain't going to get in the gang. Raise them up. You just find out. They have a gun, they be shooting you. It does. It begins with our attitude. But there is another point that I must make. Passion is directly related to the thought and intent of your heart. What is passion related to? Your thoughts and the intent of your heart. Now, let me say this. I believe this with all my heart. I believe that in everybody that's here tonight and those that are hearing me by the way of the web, I believe that God have given every one of you a passion in your heart for something. Something that God have given you. Whether you do it or whether you buried it or whether you still have it, God gave it to you. He gave it to you. He told you how to work it. He told you how to work it, but you didn't move on it. You didn't move on it. It still may not be too late. But a passion is directly related to the thought and the intent of your heart. Put it in simple form, you will do what you believe. I said you'll do what you believe. The belief system that you support in your heart will always dictate your behavior. So a man thinketh, but there is a difference between a vision and a passion. What did I say? There's a difference between a vision and a passion. Now, what do we mean that there's a difference? Well, a passion is a cause. It's a reason. It's anything that produces an effect or a result. I did this because. You see, it had to be there. That was that passion. I did it because. Why did you shoot him? Because. Why did you kill him? Because. Why did you do that? Because. Is that what the children say? There's a passion. There's a effect, or there's something that they want to do. And so you do what you do. What's in you, that's what you're going to do. What you allow to infiltrate your mind is what you do. But a cause, watch this, watch this, watch this. Everybody got that? I said a cause is a reason of anything producing an effect or result. If you want to change your behavior, then you must change your belief system. What did I say? So if you're not willing to change your belief system, the message is not going to do you any good. You just need to get up and go home, because this ain't helping you if you're not going to change. No, this is the truth. If you're not going to change, there's something you have to change for. You have to make a change when you got saved. If you wasn't willing to change, you never would have got saved. And if you're not willing to live right, you won't stay saved. You have to have a willing mind to do it. If you don't have a willing mind, you're not going to do it. Now, if our vision is not directed toward our cause, it won't work. What did I say? If our vision is not directed towards our cause, it won't work. Now, let me tell you what a vision is in a simpler form. A vision is, I've said this to Great Open Door probably 50 times, but it bear repeated. A vision is the ability to see opportunity in the midst of your current situation. Do I need to say it again? A vision is the what? Ability to see what? An opportunity in the what? Midst of your current circumstances, what you're surrounded with. Now, so that means it don't make any difference what's going on in your life now. If you have a vision and a cause, you can come out of it. But if you have a vision and don't have a cause, you don't have a reason for wanting to do better. You don't have a reason for wanting to develop what God has given you. You don't have a reason for doing that, then you don't stay the same. You're going to stay the same. It won't work. If our vision is not directed toward our cause, it won't work. We have to understand in every vision there is a risk. What did I say? In every vision there is a risk. And we must understand God's word concerning reproduction. That will only happen when we change our belief system. See, if we don't think there's a risk. So, well, I invested my money and I lost it. Well, think about that. Let me tell you something. The people play the stock market. Some of them have lost millions of dollars, broke, but they didn't stop playing. They didn't. Matter of fact, gamblers don't stop gambling because they lose. They're waiting for one day they win. They don't stop. A person do alcohol and stop drinking because he got drunk and they robbed him. No, see, the church is like this. They lose a little something and they hold it all their life against the church. Well, I did this and they told me to do that and it didn't work. Well, you gave up. But the alcoholic don't give up. He get drunk and they beat him. The Bible said that. He said, who have sorrows? Who have woes? Who have contention? The man that tarry long at the wine. He's like a man in the middle of the ocean. He said, but when he said he'll never do it again, but the moment he get drunk, he go right back and do it again. But we give up. We give up. We give up. But there's a risk. Because the devil don't want you to understand it. Another thing you need to do, you need to know the business world of seeking advice to get to hire the right folks to do the right thing for you if you're going into business. Business is risky. But If you get the right folks, you know if you go into business, you're going to need an accountant, you're going to need an advisor, you're going to need somebody to give you some advice. You don't have to know. Listen, see, this is what a businessman know. A businessman know he don't have to know everything about the business. All he needs to do is have the idea. He can get the idea, he can get other folks to work for him, and he makes the most money because he got the idea. How many of you looks at this, the boss, what they call it, the boss, for the secret boss? He comes on, he owns the companies, and he come there and work. Undercover boss. They doing the work. You see them sometimes they can't even do the work. But they own it. They own the business. Now, if you really have a passion to gain wealth God's way, your passion will drive you to learn all you need to know. Your passion will drive you to know all you need to know. Now, here's a Bible story.